Are you struggling with CORS issues in your ASP.NET application? You're not alone. Today, we're going to tackle a common problem that many developers face when working with file handlers and CORS headers. I understand how frustrating it can be when everything works perfectly in your local environment, but then you hit a wall when trying to access it from another origin. This is a common scenario, and it can really throw a wrench in your development process. Let's dive into the specific issue at hand. One user recently asked, how do I add CORS headers to my ASHX file handler in AS.NET? They mentioned that their handler works locally, but they encounter an error when making AJAX calls from a different origin. Sound familiar? Let's explore this together. So what's happening here? When you make an AJAX request from a different origin, the browser sends a pre-flight options request to check if the actual request is safe to send. If your server doesn't respond with the correct CORS headers, you'll see that dreaded error message. And stick around. At the end of this video, I'll share a quick tip that can help you avoid CORS headaches in the future. To enable CORS for the file ASHX handler, the user needs to intercept the options request. This can be done by overriding the process request method in the handler. Next, the user should add the necessary CORS headers in the process request method. This will allow the browser to recognize that the request is permitted. After adding the headers, the user should ensure that the handler processes GET and POST requests correctly. This is important for the functionality of the file.ashx handler. Finally, the user should test the implementation by making an AJAX request from a different origin. This will confirm that the CORS headers are working as expected. Fun fact, CORS stands for Cross-Origin Resource Sharing, and it's a security feature that helps prevent malicious websites from accessing your resources. So while it can be a pain, it's there to protect you. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative solution, shared by another user, highlights the importance of running Visual Studio as an administrator when debugging your project. They suggest using the process request method to add the necessary CORS headers. Specifically, you can add headers for access control allow origin, access control allow methods, and access control allow headers. Additionally, the user mentions that you can also configure CORS settings in the web.config file as another option. That wraps up that answer. Let's move on to another one. An alternative solution to the CORS issue is to add an event handler to the begin request method in the global.ashx.cs file. This allows you to manipulate the response headers based on the incoming request. Here's a quick tip. Always test your CORS settings in different environments. What works locally might not work in production, so be sure to check your configurations. And there you have it. By intercepting the options request and adding the right headers, you can resolve those pesky CORS issues. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe for more tips and tricks on ASP.NET development.